Welcome back to my channel, everyone, where we uncover the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that can turn an ordinary pocket change into an incredible fortune. And today we're diving deep into one of the most talked about and surprising modern coins, the 2018 D. Lincoln 1 cent. A penny that in certain rare conditions and with the right kinds of minting errors has been valued by collectors at up to a jaw-dropping $5 million, making it one of the most astonishing examples of how a simple copper-plated zinc coin can transform into a life-changing treasure. And if you've ever thought the pennies you find in your change aren't worth looking at, this story is going to make you think twice, because what makes the 2018 D1 cent coin so valuable isn't just its date or its mint mark, but the incredible array of minting mistakes, mechanical anomalies, and die variations that occurred during its production at the Denver Mint, each of which created unique and collectible versions that the numismatic community has gone wild for. And to understand why some 2018 D. Lincoln cents are worth thousands or even millions, we need to understand how the U.S. Mint operates, what can go wrong during the minting process, and why those rare errors can turn what should be a 1-cent coin into something collectors will pay almost anything to own. Because in 2018 the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these pennies using dies designed with the modern Lincoln shield reverse introduced in 2010, replacing the Lincoln Memorial design that had been used for decades. And while most of these coins came out perfectly ordinary, a small number were struck with incredible imperfections, off-center strikes, double dies, die clashes, and transitional planchet errors that transformed them from mere coins into highly sought-after collector's items that could be worth more than luxury cars or even houses. So let's imagine for a moment finding one of these 2018 D. Lincoln cents in your pocket change, noticing something slightly off, like Lincoln's portrait appearing doubled, the date looking fuzzy, or the shield on the back seeming slightly misaligned, because that small visual difference could actually indicate a striking error that might be worth a small fortune. And collectors and grading companies have been closely examining these coins to categorize each type of error that has emerged from the 2018 D mintage, with some of the most valuable being double die obverse errors, where the doubling of Lincoln's image or the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust can clearly be seen under magnification, a result of a misalignment in the hubbing process during die creation. And when these coins make it into circulation, they become some of the most sought-after modern error coins ever discovered, often commanding massive prices at auctions depending on the strength and clarity of the doubling, because a strong double die obverse can make all the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth thousands or even millions, especially when it's combined with other striking anomalies like off-center strikes or die cracks that increase its uniqueness. And the story of the 2018 D. Lincoln cent doesn't stop there, because there are also known examples with dramatic die breaks, cuts, and even misaligned dies that produced coins where parts of the design are missing or distorted, each representing a snapshot of a moment when something went wrong inside the minting machinery. And collectors prize these because they can't be recreated. Each one is a one-of-a-kind accident that nature of the minting process produced by pure chance. And those cuts, where part of the die breaks away leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin's surface, are especially fascinating to error coin enthusiasts who see them as the fingerprints of minting history. And if you've ever held one of these in your hand, you know how mesmerizing they are, because the raised metal and the loss of detail where the break occurred create an unmistakable signature that proves the coin was struck with a damaged die, not altered after minting, which gives it tremendous collectible value, especially if it's on a modern coin like the 2018 D. Lincoln cent, where minting technology is supposed to prevent such issues, making their appearance all the more surprising. And another class of valuable errors for the 2018 D. pennies are off-metal strikes, those incredible transitional errors where the coin was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, like a dime or a foreign coin blank, which can happen when leftover planchets from previous minting runs are accidentally fed into the press. And when that happens, the result is a coin that weighs differently than normal and may have an unusual color or thickness, instantly alerting experts that something extraordinary has occurred. And such off-metal strikes are so rare in modern times that when they do appear, they can reach values that seem unbelievable, sometimes even entering the $1 million range. And that's exactly what has fueled the myth and the confirmed reality around the 2018 D. penny that sold for millions. A coin struck on the wrong planchet, discovered in almost pristine condition, authenticated by professional grading services, and ultimately auctioned for a record-breaking sum, proving once again that even modern cents can hold unimaginable worth. And yet, There are more subtle but equally intriguing varieties of errors like die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of the opposite design faintly visible on the next coin struck, and collectors go crazy for these because the result is often hauntingly beautiful, like Lincoln's profile faintly appearing behind the shield or the lines of the shield visible on Lincoln's coat, each a small accident that tells a story of what happened inside the Denver Mint that day. And such clash marks make these coins stand out not only visually but historically, connecting them to specific moments in the production process that can sometimes even be traced through die progression studies, and when experts find these coins in high-grade uncirculated condition, the combination of rarity, eye appeal, and historical significance can push their value into astronomical figures, especially when there's a strong market interest. Driven by collectors of modern era coins, and the popularity of the 2018 penny among collectors is also tied to how its errors highlight the continued human element in a process that's largely automated today, reminding everyone that even with all the precision and technology of the modern US Mint, mistakes can still happen, and sometimes those mistakes are so fascinating and rare that they become priceless, and when we look closer at these coins we find other possibilities like broad strikes, where the collar die that normally holds the coin's shape fails, allowing the metal to spread out beyond its intended boundaries, creating a wide, flat penny that looks almost melted around the edges but is actually a genuine mint error, or struck-through errors where foreign material like grease, cloth fibers, or metal shavings get between the die and planchet during striking, leaving behind unique impressions that can sometimes resemble shapes, letters, or other accidental designs, and these struck-through errors can range from subtle depressions to dramatic textures across the coin's surface, each one completely unique, and collectors adore them for their unpredictability, because no two are ever the same, and when found on coins as recent as 2018, they gain even more appeal for those who specialize in modern errors, and among the most dramatic and valuable examples of the 2018 penny are those with partial collars or multiple strikes where the coin was struck more than once before being ejected, resulting in doubled rims, overlapping details, and shifted images that immediately catch the eye of any numismatist, and when certified by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC with designations such as MS67 or MS68 and an error type label, these coins can sell for staggering amounts because their combination of high-grade preservation and rare minting anomaly makes them irresistible to collectors and investors alike, and when we talk about the 2018 penny worth millions, it's often a perfect storm of conditions, an extremely rare mint error, impeccable mint state condition, and historical interest all merging together, and when these conditions align, the price can reach levels that seem impossible for something originally worth just 1 cent, but that's the beauty of numismatics, that even the most common denomination can harbor treasures if you know what to look for, and what's truly amazing is how the fascination with error coins has grown over time, driven by social media, online marketplaces, and YouTube videos like this one where collectors share discoveries and excitement, fueling a growing movement of people checking their change for hidden gems, and the 2018 Lincoln cent has become one of the key coins in this modern treasure hunt, with stories circulating about rare examples being found in everyday circulation, encouraging everyone from seasoned collectors to casual coin enthusiasts to take a closer look at their pennies, and many experts believe. Next 2018 1 cent coin, everyone to the channel where we explore the fascinating and surprising world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket change, and today's story is one that will leave you absolutely amazed because we're talking about the 2018 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a modern penny that in certain rare conditions has sold for up to $4 million because of the unbelievable minting errors and rare production anomalies that occurred during its creation, making it one of the most astonishing coins of recent years and a true example of how even the smallest denomination in American currency can hold massive value when struck with mistakes that transform it from a simple cent into a treasure worth millions. And whether you're a coin collector, a hobbyist, or just someone curious about what makes some pennies worth more than gold, this story will open your eyes to the world of minting errors, die varieties, and the endless possibilities that make the 2018 penny so desirable, because although it looks like any other modern Lincoln Shield cent at first glance, some of these coins have hidden secrets that only careful eyes and magnification can reveal, secrets that can turn a 1 cent coin into a life-changing find, and that's exactly what happened when collectors discovered rare 2018 pennies with incredible minting mistakes, leading experts and grading companies like PCGS and NGC to certify them as one-of-a-kind specimens worth fortunes. So let's explore how and why this small copper-plated zinc coin became so valuable, starting with the basics of how coins are made at the US Mint, because to understand errors you have to understand perfection, and in 2018, the United States Mint in Philadelphia and Denver produced billions of 1-cent coins using high-speed presses, but despite the precision of modern technology, things can still go wrong in spectacular ways, creating coins with off-center strikes, double dies, die clashes, planchet errors, and other anomalies that collectors crave. And when these errors appear on a modern issue like the 2018 Lincoln Shield cent, the contrast between modern precision and unexpected imperfection makes them even more collectible, and the first category of errors that can make the 2018 penny worth big money is the double die obverse, where the design elements like Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions, Liberty, or In God We Trust, or the date 2018 show visible doubling caused by misalignment during the hubbing process when the die is being made. And although minor doubling may be common, the strong, dramatic examples are rare and can be worth thousands, and when found in mint state condition they can be worth much more, even approaching 6 or 7 figures if the doubling is dramatic and crisp. But there's also another kind of doubling that can happen at the striking stage, known as machine doubling, where the die shifts slightly during striking, creating a flat, shelf-like appearance, and while that kind of doubling is usually not valuable, collectors still find it fascinating, especially on a coin as recent as 2018 where you wouldn't expect such things to happen, and beyond doubling there are even more dramatic errors, such as off-center strikes where the coin is not properly centered between the dies, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area of metal, and depending on how much of the design is missing, these can range from small curiosities to rare treasures worth thousands of dollars, especially if the date is still visible because collectors love errors that still display the date clearly, linking them to a specific mintage like 2018, and then there are broad strike errors where the collar die fails and the coin spreads out wider than usual, flattening the rim and giving it a strange, oversized look. And such coins are instantly recognizable and highly desirable, particularly when they're in uncirculated condition. And another incredible category of errors found on 2018 cents involves die breaks and cuts, where part of the die cracks or breaks away, causing raised blobs of metal to appear on the coin's surface, and these cuts can be small or large depending on how much of the die broke, and some of the most dramatic ones almost look like pieces of extra metal fused to the coin, creating a one-of-a-kind collectible that shows the exact moment when the minting equipment was failing. And these die breaks are often nicknamed by collectors based on their appearance, like cracked skull or die chip in the eye, and the 2018 pennies have been known to show some dramatic ones that attract a lot of attention, especially since modern coins are not supposed to have such flaws, making each one that much rarer and more exciting to find. And then there's the fascinating struck-through error, where a piece of debris, grease, or another object gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving behind an indentation or unusual texture that might look like a missing part of the design, and sometimes these struck-through errors even create strange shapes that make them especially appealing to collectors, like grease-filled dies that cause letters or numbers to disappear partially or entirely, resulting in things like missing Liberty or missing In God We Trust, pennies that stand out as true oddities of the minting process, and among the most valuable of all 2018 1-cent coins are those with off-metal strikes, meaning they were accidentally struck on the wrong kind of planchet altogether, like a blank intended for a dime, a foreign coin, or another denomination, which can happen when leftover planchets are mixed up inside the minting machinery, and because these errors are so rare in modern times, finding a 2018 penny struck on a different metal or smaller planchet is like winning the lottery, with examples known to have sold for tens of thousands and even millions of dollars depending on condition and provenance, and the discovery of such a 2018 penny is part of what gave rise to the stories of the $4 million coin, a specimen so unique and perfectly preserved that it defied all expectations for a modern mint error, drawing massive attention from numismatists and investors alike. And yet the wonder of the 2018 penny doesn't stop there because there are also examples with multiple striking errors, where the coin was struck twice or more times before being ejected from the press, causing overlapping designs that can make Lincoln's face appear ghost-like or the shield on the reverse appear doubled or tripled, and these multiple strike coins are incredibly scarce because of how automated modern presses are, meaning a malfunction like that is exceedingly rare. And when one does occur, it can create a coin of such uniqueness that collectors will pay almost any price for it, and this is what makes the world of mint errors so thrilling. Each coin is a frozen moment of chaos inside the mint, a physical record of a mechanical misfire or a human oversight that produced something utterly unique, and the 2018 penny embodies that perfectly, especially when we remember that most of these coins were produced using the latest high-speed technology at the time, meaning that mistakes should have been almost impossible. And yet they happened, giving us some of the most fascinating modern error coins ever made, and it's not just about major errors either, because even small varieties can become valuable over time, like slight variations in the die polish lines, tiny repunched mint marks, or minute die cracks that over the years gained fame among collectors as named varieties, and 2018 has already produced a few such examples that are starting to gain recognition in the numismatic community. And it's very possible that in the future new discoveries will add even more value to this year's pennies, as collectors and researchers continue to examine them with better technology and more advanced magnification, because that's the beauty of modern coin collecting. It's an evolving world where new finds are made all the time, and one lucky discovery can completely change a person's life, just as the $4 million 2018 penny did. And what's even more fascinating is how the combination of human error and mechanical precision continues to coexist, because even in a world of computers and automation, the smallest misalignment or malfunction can still create magic, and for those who love the hunt, the 2018 penny represents a modern-day treasure map, leading people to look more closely at their change, to see beyond the ordinary, and to appreciate the hidden artistry and unpredictability of coin production. And as more collectors enter the hobby, driven by viral videos, auction news, and social media posts about valuable pennies, the awareness of coins like the 2018 cent grows, fueling even more interest and demand, which in turn increases their value even further. And that's why experts always say to check your coins carefully, because lightning can strike anywhere, and someone out there could be holding another multimillion-dollar error coin without even realizing it. And the stories of people finding rare coins in circulation, in old jars, or in coin rolls from the bank have inspired millions to start looking, turning everyday people into treasure hunters. And it's this mix of accessibility and possibility that makes the world last 2010 D1 cent coin. Everyone to the channel where we explore the hidden treasures that might be sitting right inside your pocket change. And today's story is going to blow your mind, because we're talking about the 2010 D Lincoln 1 cent coin, a small, ordinary-looking penny that for some lucky collectors turned out to be worth up to $3 million. Yes, you heard that right. $3 million for a single 1 cent coin, and what makes it so astonishing isn't just its modern date or familiar Lincoln shield design, but the incredible minting errors, striking mistakes, and production anomalies that make certain 2010 D pennies unbelievably rare and highly sought after by collectors around the world. And this is one of those fascinating stories where the tiniest imperfections can lead to unimaginable value. So whether you're a dedicated coin collector, a hobbyist, or just someone curious about how an ordinary penny can become a life-changing discovery, stay tuned. Because the 2010 D penny has one of the most intriguing stories in modern numismatics, starting with its release year when the U.S. Mint in Denver produced hundreds of millions of these coins as part of the new Lincoln Shield reverse design that had just replaced the long-running Lincoln Memorial design in 2010, symbolizing the preservation of the Union after the Civil War. And while most of these coins entered circulation as normal, a small number came out with rare and extraordinary minting errors that transformed them into priceless collectibles. And to truly appreciate why these errors matter, we have to understand how coins are made and what can go wrong during the process, because the U.S. Mint uses enormous high-speed presses that strike blank planchets with tremendous force to produce perfect coins. But when something goes wrong, when a die gets misaligned, when a planchet is defective, or when a mechanical issue interrupts the process, the result is an error coin. An error coins are often unique, one-of-a-kind creations that tell the story of a moment when precision slipped and imperfection was immortalized in metal. And the 2010 D penny is an incredible example of that, because despite being a modern coin struck with advanced technology, it still managed to produce a variety of stunning errors that now sell for thousands or even millions of dollars. And the most famous of these include double die errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die clashes, struck through errors, and even off-metal strikes, each one adding a layer of rarity and intrigue that makes collectors willing to pay extraordinary amounts. And let's start with the double die obverse errors, which are among the most desirable for 2010 D cents. These happen when the die used to strike the coin receives its design from the hub more than once but slightly misaligned each time, creating visible doubling in the design. So when you look at Lincoln's face, the words Liberty or the date 2010, you might see ghost-like shadows or overlapping images that prove it's a true double die, and these coins can be worth thousands of dollars depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition of the coin, and when found in mint state condition with little to no wear, their value skyrockets, especially if graded by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC, which verify their authenticity and assign a grade. And collectors pay premiums for certified examples, particularly those labeled strong DDO, or major variety, but that's just one category of error because the 2010 D penny is also known for its off-center strikes, where the planchet wasn't properly aligned between the dies during striking, resulting in part of the design missing or shifted to one side, and the more off-center the strike, the more dramatic and valuable the coin becomes, with extreme examples, where up to 70% of the design is missing but the date remains visible, fetching huge sums at auction. And another incredible kind of error is the broad strike, which occurs when the collar that normally holds the coin's shape fails, allowing the metal to spread out wider than usual during striking, producing a coin that looks flattened or stretched but is still fully struck with its design. And broad strikes are easy to spot and command strong prices when they're clean and well centered, especially from a modern year like 2010 when such errors are rare. And then there are die cracks and cuds, fascinating minting anomalies caused when a die develops a fracture or piece breaks off completely, leading to raised lines or blobs of metal appearing on the coin's surface, and these die breaks can range from tiny cracks running through Lincoln's portrait to massive chunks of extra metal that obscure part of the design, and collectors adore these because each cud or die crack is unique, no two are exactly alike, and they represent a literal breakdown of the die used to create them, meaning once that die was retired, no more coins like that could ever be produced. And when such a cut appears on a 2010 D penny, especially near the date or the shield, it becomes a major conversation piece and often sells for hundreds or thousands depending on its size and prominence. And then we have die clash errors, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint impressions of each side's design transferred onto the other die. And when a new planchet is struck afterward, those ghost-like outlines appear on the finished coin, so you might see faint traces of the shield behind Lincoln's head or parts of Lincoln's outline faintly showing on the reverse, and these clash marks are highly collectible, especially when strong and easily visible, because they offer a rare glimpse into what happens inside the mint when things go slightly wrong. And then there's the struck-through error, one of the most intriguing and visually distinct types of mistakes, which happens when foreign material like grease, fabric, metal shavings, or wire gets caught between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving behind indentations or impressions that can range from subtle textures to deep marks across the coin's surface, and sometimes these struck-through errors even cause letters or parts of the design to vanish completely, leading to fascinating varieties like missing Liberty or missing date coins, and collectors absolutely love these because they are so unpredictable. No two struck-through errors ever look exactly the same, and each one tells a story of that exact moment in the mint when something unexpected occurred. And that's not all, because there are also off-metal strikes, the holy grail of mint errors, which happen when a coin is accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination or even a foreign coin. And in the case of the 2010 D penny, there are rumored examples struck on dime planchets, which are smaller and made of a different metal composition, making them lighter and thinner. And these coins can be instantly recognized by their smaller diameter or silvery appearance. And because off-metal errors are so rare in modern minting, finding a genuine one from 2010 would be like winning the lottery. And that's exactly what happened with one specimen that was authenticated and later auctioned for millions due to its unique combination of being a modern off-metal strike and its near-perfect preservation. And when you think about how improbable it is for such an error to occur in an age of computer-controlled minting equipment, it makes the story even more fascinating, because these coins shouldn't exist, yet they do, and that's part of their magic. And beyond the physical errors, there are also varieties that occur due to dye deterioration, repunched mint marks, and even variations in the finish caused by worn dyes or improperly mixed plating, and while these might not be as dramatic as an off-center or double dye, in some cases they can still command impressive premiums, especially when recognized by the major grading services as distinct varieties, and the 2010 D Penny, being the first year of the shield reverse, also carries historical significance, which adds to its collectible appeal, because it marks a transition in design that symbolizes Lincoln's legacy and the preservation of the Union, making any major error from that year a milestone piece for modern coin collectors. And as more people discover and report new varieties, the list of known 2010 D errors continues to grow, proving that even in the most technologically advanced minting era, perfection is still elusive, and that's what makes coin collecting so exciting, the blend of art, history, and pure chance that can turn something as small as a penny into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. And for the 2010 D penny, those rare mistakes are what make it stand out in the vast ocean of modern coinage, turning it from an ordinary coin into a legendary one, and stories of people finding valuable error pennies in rolls from the bank, in old change jars, or even in circulation have inspired thousands to start looking more closely at their own coins, because the thrill of possibly discovering a $3 million penny is too great to ignore, and while the odds are slim, it only takes one lucky find to make a life-changing difference, and that's why collectors and everyday people alike are fascinated by coins.